All right, I've got a problem. Let me show you my problem. That hook is empty, and it's been empty for way too long. All right, so this is what we're gonna do about that problem. We got the V8 Shitbox 240 loaded up. Got my free dolly strapped up behind. Got the kid in tow. Give me a smile, Liv. Oh, come on. All right. And we are headed to pick up a 1963 Volvo Amazon. I've been after an Amazon for quite a while. Actually, I missed out on this one in 2015. It came up for sale for $800. I had a truck and trailer loaded up and was on the way to go buy it, and it got sold out from under me. And it popped back up just about a month ago. Yeah, it's pretty rough. I'll show you when we get there. It's pretty rough, but it comes with a lot of good parts, and I don't think it's an insurmountable task to get it fixed up. So, along for the ride, here we go. It is a beautiful day in Western North Carolina to go buy a car. It's, what is today? 29th, I think July 29th, 28th and 29th, I don't know, it's Saturday. The weather's perfect, the car's running good, all good. All right, well, we made it. And Liv here has christened this car Bluey. So let's go see Bluey. There she is. Got my little helper here. Got the straps all ready for us. And here we are, all loaded up and headed over. All right, so brief synopsis so far. We have unloaded it off of the dolly. We've put the battery from the truck in there. We've made sure there's oil in the oil pan, or something that resembles oil at least, and put a little bit of water in the radiator because it was low. We're gonna hit it with the key and see if it does anything at all. No starter fluid. Let's see what it does. Okay, nothing doing, not exactly surprising. All right, cars actually don't look bad. I mean, I haven't taken the bowls off, but the guts are pretty clean. We'll hit it for the old brake clean. See what happens now. Okay. All right, so I was getting power to the coil, but I wasn't getting any spark. So took it apart and started looking at the points and realized that when I closed the points, I couldn't read a short with the meter. So pulled the points out. They were super corroded, scrubbed them clean. I think I got it. Let's see. Whoa! Holy shit! It fired right up. Yo! No way! No fucking way. Dude! Oh my god. The amp light is on, but it has been converted, so let's see if it's charging. It is charging. About 13.5 volts. Dude. I'm gonna fix the clutch and take this thing for a rip. It's full, it idles so good. Y'all are not gonna believe that's the first time I hit the key. I mean, I was cranking on it, so like it was primed, I guess. But like, legitimately, I put the distributor back together, turned the key on, hit the button, and it fired right the fuck up. And it runs good. Wow, man. All right, so now that it runs, the next order of business is the clutch. Either the master or the slave, I'm not sure which is bad, so we're just going to replace both because the car came with both. So there's my new clutch master, slave, and even have the flex line to go from the hard line here down to under the car. So we'll get busy on that. So here we are. Liv, help, give me a thumbs up. No, you're gonna be shy? All right. Anyway, Liv helped me bleed the clutch. What I did not realize is it takes approximately 3 strokes of the pedal to empty that little reservoir there. So had to start and stop that a couple times. Anyway, but it's done now. So current state, I'll flip it around and we'll So it got a new clutch master here. Got a new clutch slave cylinder right there, and a new line. The problem was actually the old slave cylinder. When I took it apart, it was literally just sand and shit that came out. The master was good, so I kept it for a spare. But I had a replacement master, so it takes 2 bolts and a cotter pin to put that on. Not a big deal, so we go ahead and did that. Yeah, we're gonna lower it down and take it for a drive. So sitting for 3 years to running. Whoop. Let's see if we can drive. Nope. Might have been a little premature on that. Yeah, a little premature. Shit. Alright, so it's now after midnight. I really should be in the shower and go to bed, but we'll get there in a minute. So the problem was I got in a hurry, and I didn't think through the process of what could be wrong with the transmission. I just jumped to the transmission's bad. The transmission. So what I did, let me take a step back. Jacked the rear of the car up, got the wheels off the ground, and you can put it in gear and sort of shift it, but not really. Like it would be crunchy. It was like the clutch wasn't actuating enough. Now once you got to 4th gear, it made really bad noises. A lot of grinding. The gear shifter was jumping around trying to jump out of gear. It sounded like box of rocks. It was not good. So then I immediately, transmission's bad. Let's put another transmission in because the car came with a spare. So there we go. Sorry, I got rust all around my eyes here. So the car came with a spare. I'm like, no big deal. We'll throw a new transmission in. So I got underneath, yanked the old one out. That was easy enough. It's like 4 bolts on the transmission. The drive shaft drops out. Transmission's out. It took me 25 minutes. Super easy. Then the new transmission wouldn't go with it. I still don't know why. I'm gonna deal with that tomorrow. I tried like 3 times and could not get it to seat. And then in my head, I'm like, well, maybe when I pulled the old transmission out, maybe the input shaft, like, you know, managed to shove the clutch disc out of alignment, and maybe that's why I can't get it in. And I said, well, I've got this old junk transmission now. Let's rip it apart and use the input shaft as a clutch alignment tool to check and make sure everything's good. Took the old transmission, blew it apart, took the input shaft out. Before I did this, I did actually measure the input shaft for both transmissions and the input shaft retainer for both transmissions, and that's all the same. So no problem there. But anyway, so I'm tearing this transmission down, and I know you're not going to see the video, but like, there's nothing apparently wrong with this transmission. There's no like hooks of metal down in the bottom. It was just what I would consider a normal amount of shmoo on the magnetic drain plug. It's obviously been gone through before. Like you could tell that somebody's been in it, somebody's rebuilt it or something. But yeah, the fourth gear stuff was still real sketchy. So anyway, at this point I'm feeling bad because I'm like, oh, did I just blow apart a perfectly good transmission? And now I've got another one that like won't go in. But anyway, so I took the input shaft, put it in there. It goes in, it's fine. And then I'm like, I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight unless I work on this a little bit more. So Bailey comes down, and I have her push the clutch all the way to the floor while I'm under the car with the input shaft in the clutch, trying to spin it, and I can't spin it. And then the light bulb comes on. Oh, the clutch is seized because the car sat for 3 years outside, and clutches just do that. And it didn't even occur to me to troubleshoot a stuck clutch before I yanked the transmission out. So now I have a car with a stuck clutch with no transmission in it, and I'm having trouble getting a transmission in it to potentially unstick the clutch. So I think what I'm going to do tomorrow is take the plug out of number 1, feed some rope in there to lock the motor. Then have Bailey push on the clutch, and then I have the input shaft still, so I'll put like a big pipe wrench or something on that input shaft because, well, it's not good to be anymore. I don't know. It seems like M40s are like a dime a dozen. Everybody wants the M41. M40s are a dime a dozen, so I'm not super worried about it. And there's the replacement one seems fine too. So anyway, clutch to the floor to disengage the pressure plate as much as I can. Input shaft in the clutch hub. Pipe wrench on the input shaft to hopefully pop it free. If that doesn't work, then I'm just gonna slam it back together because like I know the M40 that I have, it has to be able to go in there. Like they're all, a couple people have said, oh, they're all the same, everything measures the same. I'm not holding my mouth right. The drive shaft was in the way, something stupid. So I'll get it in there. If I can't get the clutch unstuck with no transmission on it, then I'll just slam the transmission back in there and we'll go unstick the clutch in an empty parking lot, hopefully. At least that's the plan. Yeah. I don't know. So we did not get to drive it today, unfortunately. But we'll get there. You know, tomorrow's a new day. At one point earlier in the video, I said, well, I'm going to show a walk around of the car, and then I never did. I'm going to put that in now. It's actually, I filmed it yesterday, the day before I picked the car up, the first day I went and looked at it. It's about 3 or 4 minutes, just kind of runs through the stuff. Let me show you one other thing though that's very interesting. All right, now this is just interesting. I mean, none of it matters because the car is so old at this point. But there was one guy that owned this car from 1966 to 1996. 30 years he owned this car, and it is, I think, every single receipt and every single record for everything he ever did. I've got 4 out of 5, and he labeled them 1, 3, 4, 5, so I'm missing 2. But look, when he bought this thing, it's a 63, he bought it in 66. He wrote how much he paid, which was $1,600, 16,000 miles on it when he got it, the license plate for it, the date he purchased. Oh man, he purchased it. Oh, that's cool. He purchased it on my wife's birthday in 1966, and the guy that he bought it from. This car was originally a California car. This man logged every single tank of gas that he put in the car. He logged oil changes, he logged fluids, he logged wiper blades, set of plugs, everything. Digging through the receipts, I found he's got canceled checks for stuff. I found the receipts in here for a complete motor rebuild from 1969, which cost him, I want to say it was like $1,800 then, which equates to, gosh, it's either I think it's like $13,000 today he spent. The upholstery in the car, you'll see it's blue. There are actually receipts in here from when he had a complete custom interior made for the car. Right here, actually, Modern Auto Trim in 1980, I think was the date on there. Yeah, October of 1980. He spent $440, I think that's $480. Spent about $500 in 1980 to have custom blue upholstery put all in the car. He lived in Whittier, California at 15034 Jupiter Street. House is still there. It was maintained by, there was a Volvo dealer that did a bunch of work to it. It seems like he really liked, where's a good one? Yeah, this Whittier Auto Repair. He spent a lot of money with them on stuff like this is steering stuff, bushings, water pump. This is from '83. And then it appears that he sold it to his daughter, I believe. So Virginia, Roland Sager was the primary owner. His wife was Virginia. Virginia has passed away, and Roland was listed as a survivor. So I don't actually see, he may still be living. Then I think he sold it to his daughter, who was like Melody or something. There's a receipt or a registration in here somewhere. Anyway, so then it went from the Rolands and then I believe it was 2006, it was sold to somebody else. I don't remember her name. It's in here somewhere. Anyway, it was sold to somebody else up in Ukiah, California. Like Ukiah and Arcata, California, which, funny enough, we were just there last week. My wife and I bailed went up there to see the Windwoods. We stayed in Arcata for the night and drove through Ukiah twice. I had no idea the connection. I would have like stopped and knocked on the door or something. So after that woman sold it, I don't know exactly when, the paper trail kind of falls off. Somehow it got from Northern California to Western North Carolina. It looks like this guy right here, Steve Human in Asheville, had it, and I believe he is the one that listed it at $800 in, I think it was April of 2015. He sold it to Jake Ebert, which is actually not, I don't know him, but I have friends who know him. I'm kind of trying to get in touch with him. And then Jake Ebert sold it to the guy that I bought it from. So if this guy, Steve Uman, somehow got it from California to North Carolina, I think that makes me the 7th owner of this car, 6th or 7th, depending, not entirely sure. But Jake Ebert seems to have owned it from mid-2015 to late 2015, which is when the guy that I bought it from purchased it and paid a lot more than $800, he tells me. And I don't doubt it. Oh, and the car also with a rebuilt B18. You can actually see the assembly lube in the bottom. I pulled the valve cover off, rocker cover off, I guess, and still assembly lube up in there. Actually, it looks like a really good condition. But yeah, sorry this video went on so long. I will hopefully have a driving update tomorrow after I get this transmission in, and we'll hopefully get all that figured out. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for sticking around so long. I don't really have there's no plan for this car. The only thing that I'd really like to do with it is run it as 00 at Bristol Forest Rally. So if I can get it, if I can get the rust fixed to make it safe, and then figure out what I'll do for suspension. It doesn't need to be a rally car or anything, but put a skid pan under the motor and protect the rear gas tank because it's slung real low. Just kind of get it ready to go. It'd be cool to run it as a 0 car for Bristol. But yeah, anyway, I think that's all I got. It's been a very long video. Thanks for sticking around, and I will update you pretty soon. So it's a little tour here through the car. It is a M41, 4-speed, no overdrive. Of course, the seats are kind of meh, but looks like that's fairly easy upholstery to repair. Apparently, the back seat is worth basically what I'm paying for the car. And it's in serviceable shape. Door panels are present. Unfortunately, somebody cut the dash for a radio, but maybe I can find something more period correct to go in there. The dash pad is in really good shape. I suspect this has been replaced at some point. Steering wheel has leather on it that's not cracked and falling apart. Yeah, really not. I mean, the rockers are, of course, terrible. I've said that 3 times already, but the rest of it is, I think I'm gonna just go by, well, I was gonna say I'd stop at the dump on the way home and just pull stuff out of the back, like carpet and whatnot, but that might be a future project. Let's take a look underneath. Really, the floors, this is the front driver's floor, which is obviously gone, but the rest of the floors are pretty solid. Really no real complaints there. A little bit of crustiness on that little frame rail, frame horn, whatever you want to call it. Not horrible. Let's take a look at the other side now. It does unfortunately have the wrong grille for a 63, which is a bummer. Yeah, this side is solid. I mean, surface rust, whatever, but no gaping holes that I can see. Yeah. Up under the back, I haven't even looked at the fuel tank. Doesn't look like there's any holes in that, which is certainly a plus. Brakes are not seized, it will roll, so that'll make tomorrow a bit easier. Yeah, okay. Okay. Maybe not as bad as I made it out to be. Okay. Certainly plenty of work to be done, but a cool place to start. Like I said, I've not been chasing this car per se since 2015, but I've known about it since back then. It's kind of cool to finally have it. So stay tuned. Yeah, we'll see what kind of project it turns into.